Too Funny Feedback, where people come. All right. Let me see. John says he can't get into the room. Do you see him in participants? No. All right, let me go ahead and give him the link that was in
Maybe that's why
the email.
I got it from the email, but I don't know. Well, the Force today, may the Force be with you. There's lots of craziness. Dark side. Just getting into it.
Let's see. They're coming in now.
Okay. Still only with 3, we can end early.
Only 2 so far.
Well, the 2. End early.
I guess there's an issue with the link. I'm gonna have to take a look at that. Fucking
I used it.
Calendly. I don't know. I had to change it at one point because, like, the event deleted itself from my Zoom account.
Oh, Kamira.
Yep.
Okay, admit.
And John. And so far, I think that's it. Let me get to
Maya, is that it? And John.
this so that this
Hi.
doesn't happen again.
Hi, how are you?
Sorry, we didn't try and keep you out of the room, but
Did-
guess that we
didn't-
did that anyway.
Didn't you?
Once and the same thing happened with like audience and the whole thing, and it was a last minute freak out, and we fixed it. So I totally understand. This is way less pressure.
Yeah. Oh, here's Desiree. Oh, nope. Never mind. Sorry, I just muted you, Lisa. I didn't mean to. I was trying to hit the admit button for Desiree.
I admitted her.
I did. Yeah, I know. It's everything. Yay! All right, now we can do this. I'm gonna spotlight myself real quick and do our normal thing. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Too Funny Feedback. My name is Tom. Co-hosting the show with me, as always, is the lovely Lisa. And we got some great comedians here tonight. They're going to be doing some comedy, 5 minutes of comedy, and then we're going to try and limit ourselves to about 5 minutes of feedback. We got a small room tonight, so if we go over, it's not the biggest deal in the world, so that's good. A couple reminders before we start. My G Suite is down, so I don't actually have my script in front of me, so we're going to wing this, and it's going to be really embarrassing because I do this speech every single time we do the show, and I'm going to remember a surprisingly small amount of it. But for the comedians, remember that to keep track of your time, if you just go to either Gallery View or pin the District Comedy Zoom screen, you can keep track of your time. That'll be a timer here in a second for your 5 minutes. Also, comedy is subjective. If you don't agree with the stuff that we say, that is okay. They are just suggestions. We try and facilitate an environment that promotes the growth of our comics. And we are also in a learning process as well, in learning how to give feedback. So that's always important to remember. Also, I'm in a closet. Also, for our audience, if you are watching, please like and subscribe to the channel. You can support us also with tips at district-comedy.live. And if you are doing asshole stuff in the comments section, don't. Because that's just awful. Okay, so like that part of the announcement, I don't even have to do probably because it's like it's like Schrodinger's audience. It's like they're there if I look, but if I don't, we're normally pretty safe. Any deep dark secrets that you want to tell, this is the place to do it. Nobody will hear you. Anyway, that being said, because G Suite's down, I also didn't get a set to like write the set list beforehand, but there's only 3 of us. So I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm going to randomly pick. How about, because actually he's coming here and it's really late where he is, we start with John so that, you know, if he needs to, he can get to bed and relax a little bit.
You're very kind, Tom.
Woo, 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 woo. Give it up for John, everybody.
Hello, everyone. We're doing this. We're doing it. It's happening. Comedy. It's really happening. Hi.
Hi.
Have you ever been on the internet more hours in a week than there are hours in a week? I think I've managed it a few times. I never do anything constructive on the internet. I feel like every second I'm online kind of feels like I've just been hit by a fridge. Do you know what I mean? Just like a fridge freezer full of delicious, fatty, slightly racist food right in the face. And then the fridge freezer calls you stupid and ugly, and you're like, oh, I'm better than this fridge freezer. Just 5 more hours and I'm taking a piss. I've never done anything constructive on the internet aside from researching exes. That's it. That's all I got. I use the internet primarily to ask questions I should know the answer to already, like what's the capital of France or what's my father's name. Just typical stuff. I use the. I'm Roman Catholic. I don't know if you could guess. And we say we go to church, but we call it going to mass. The service is mass. But I just genuinely got confused. I was like, do Americans call it mass or just say it's church? So I googled Americans and mass, and I found the answer was shootings. And I was like, oh god. I was like, how have I managed to mess up a search like that? That would be like if. The only thing I could think of was like, that would be like if I search for mass shootings, but instead of getting pictures of what I should have got, I just get pictures of junkies doing heroin, you know, and one shooting up in church, or some priest who can't get enough opium in Vietnam. The point is I waste too much time online. That's the point I'm trying to make. I'm watching a lot of YouTube videos, and my suggested feed showed me the Rock, Paper, Scissors World Championships. And I was like, I need to watch this because you never know when you're going to have an impromptu rock, paper, scissors showdown on the streets with some rival Asian gang. So I was like, I'm going to get ready. So the official website that I went to afterwards said, if you want to compete professionally, there is no greater tournament than the World Rock, Paper, Scissors Championship. And I was like, yeah, the Monaco Grand Prix has nothing on this championship. Held in a convention center in Denver, I assume. It continued, who doesn't want to be the world rock, paper, scissors champion? And I thought probably most people with or without a job, if I had to guess. And it said that the only thing you need to know in order to become a professional athlete, their words, was rock smashes scissors, scissors cuts paper, paper covers rock. And I was like, whew, this game has really evolved since I was a kid to championship level. So much so the entire rule book is 9 words. Now I'm ready to become a professional virgin. The worst thing though, in school I didn't get taught the rules right because some genius kid actually taught everyone in class that rock beats everything. That child's a legend because he ruined the entire game for loads of people in school, but he also taught a class of people that you can never lose in life. So we all just chose rock and said we all won, and then no one amounted to anything in life. So that's great. Here's a question we need to ask ourselves. How arrogant are magicians? I'm serious. The great Alex Byrne. I know Alex. He's nothing special. He's a fucking idiot. Okay. Okay, I'm going to finish on this. This only happened today, so it's fresh. And it's kind of embarrassing for my girlfriend. I was on the phone with my girlfriend's in Berlin. I am not. I'm in Ireland. And we were on Zoom or WhatsApp, technically, but everyone says Zoom. Fuck it, I'm ruining the joke. It was a WhatsApp call, okay? Gotta keep it honest. I was on a WhatsApp call. We're on Face. We're looking at each other. And then she farted audibly. And I said, did you just fart? And she went, how did you hear that? And I said, because you farted loud enough to wake a train. And then she laughed so loud, she farted again, even louder. And I was like, that's kind of lovely. Bonds us. Anyway, that's all from me. Thank you for listening to me. I appreciate the time, as always.
Woo, 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 woo. Resetting the timer. Give it up for John, everybody. All right. Taking off that spotlight. Cool. So, all right. Jumping right into it. Oh yeah, Lisa, did you want to try that thing we talked about where I run the clock on us?
Try it. I don't know if we'll ever meet the standards like the community.
No, we're not going
standards
to, but that's
do.
okay.
I can do it on my watch.
My time has started, so I have to start, Lisa. Yeah, I thought you had a really strong opener with the whole fridge bit, and like I feel like you did a really good job this time too of like the first and second half of your set. really kind of stuck to exploring, you know, the same topic from different perspectives. Like, I felt like the first half was internet, and like the second half was basically rock paper scissors, which is great, and I guess not amounting to anything, which is good. Specifically, some pops for me were the fatty / racist food. Like, that was a good kind of turnaround, because I really thought you were just gonna keep going with like more like applicable comparisons of like, this is also like, I don't know, really sour or something, but you didn't, and it worked in your favor. I would not change that one. I thought that for the you said basically all I use the internet for is to research my exes, and then you said I use the internet, I ask it questions like where's my dad, which I think that like that's funny, but I think that you can also try, instead of asking the question about your dad, kind of bring home the point more and ask a question about your ex, like, you know, who is Karen dating now, or something, as like the question that you ask the internet. I cannot hear you. It seems like you're talking. Okay. Either way, it's fine. You'll have time to talk later. I only got like a minute or something left. I can't do math. Not under time pressure. Oh no! Oh yeah, I'm real bad. Okay, this is not a good idea. We're not doing this again. Obviously, mass shootings killed. Pun. That was an accident. I swear. And then I liked the rock paper scissors thing, like I said. I also thought that you had an opportunity though. To do, like, you went and you called yourself a professional virgin, which again, like, is funny. It applies because all those people are we're assuming geeky and nerdy. Although I'm gonna like look this up and they're gonna be like super fucking buff or whatever. But I also think that if you want, you can explore more areas with professional like, just that, like, because you do rock, paper, scissors at a championship level, you are technically an athlete, and, like, maybe, like, hitting on girls that way or something like that, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, that's it for me. Go, Lisa. You're running out of time.
Like 24, but, like,
yeah.
comedy. Okay, so I loved your nice opener. I love that you said hi. You know, I love that when you just are present and you're acknowledging the audience. I love the fridge thing. The hand movement I enjoy. So you did a lot of, I noticed, with not holding the mic anymore, because that was used to be your style, is this, so a lot of hand movements. And I am Italian, so I feel you on hand movements. I talk with my hands often. And I liked it. And then what happened is, when you did the rock, paper, scissors, and you did all the hand movements, I feel like if you're doing that bit, maybe doing less hand movement, so that when you do get to that part, it's a little bit, like, it makes more of an impact, if that makes sense. So that, it's not that I want you to limit your hands. Like, I like the fridge thing, and I like, it keeps you very, like, present and fresh, but I feel like there was a lot of hand movement. Like I said, I'm akin to that, but because rock, paper, scissors is such a specific hand thing, like, making that either different or, like, in your face, like how you use your hands versus it's like casual before, would create an interesting dynamic and maybe drive home what you're doing. And I'm going to jump on what Tom was saying, is about how, like, I love how you brought in the professional thing, like how you drop, we think you're going one way and then you drop your voice level, and how you hit the word, you know, the emphasis on the word, kind of, and it brings the joke home. I'm wondering, with you could possibly talk about what those professional athletes could do with their hands, and you can, if that's another place where you can use your hands, like, what would they be really good at in real life? Like, I don't know, with that hand dexterity, and that's a way you can play with the hands and use that. There, I loved the. Is it wrong to say I love the mass shooting joke? So I feel like it is, but yet it was so funny. That was my favorite, because you brought us ways I didn't expect. By the way, we do say mass as Catholics, say mass instead of church. A lot of people say church. Usually you say mass because Catholics go to mass. Everyone else seems to go to church because we feel we're special.
Baptists say service, yeah.
Jesus likes us better, I guess. I don't know. So I liked, but that was my major thing. And there was one point with the mic stuff that you went down one moment. I don't know if you saw this. You kind of played for a second with your eyes. Like, I don't know if that was a thing or if it's intentional, but it made me go, oh, is he going to do something with it? Because, like, you could you know, I don't know if there's a thing there, but it was a visual that was interesting, and I don't know if you want to pursue that. You know, I love your energy and how you're present, and I say keep going with that. I don't know who Alex Burns is. I'm sorry, that was the one thing. And I can't hear you, John. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
It's okay.
You hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Sorry.
He's not he's just a person I know. Like it's just a real person who's a.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if he was a famous magician.
Oh. Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. Because I was like, is it something else I don't know? Because it's a lot that I don't know. So I wasn't sure because I'm not in the magician.
Yeah, maybe I need to set it up.
You're gonna really offend Paul Kilmer with that joke, though.
I love him.
He's a magician, we know. Anyway, cool.
But I really loved your set. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, John. You made me laugh a lot. I
Woo, woo,
appreciate
woo, woo! Give it up one more time for John! Wah! All right, up next on my imaginary set list, it's her first time on the mic. She's got a green screen behind her, so we already know she's professional. More professional than I am, because I'm about to butcher her name, but I'm going to try my best. Give it up for Carmaya! Woo, 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 woo!
People are always messing up my name because Carmia isn't a name. It's actually more of a lead-in to the question, what? I was born in Spain, and since I'm Jewish, my parents gave me a Hebrew name that sounds Spanish, so I could sneak through the next Inquisition. My name's really uncommon, even in Israel, where the number of people with a Hebrew name is everyone. This is an actual conversation I had while I was there. Carmia? Don't you mean Carmiel? No, I mean what I said. Why did I get my own name wrong? According to traditional Judaism, men are turned on by a woman's hair, so married women have to cover it. This thinning, frizzy, greasy mom hair is an aphrodisiac of biblical proportion. If it weren't for my scarf, I'd have to fight off suitors with a burp cloth. I have a different scarf for every occasion. There's my workout scarf and my hiking scarf and my shopping for more scarves scarf. When I flirt with a mailman, I wear my push-up scarf. One thing you should know about me is that I have 5 kids. Carmia is a Hebrew name meaning doesn't know when to stop. There are 2 things I should not be allowed to do when I'm ovulating. The second one is grocery shopping. Seeing all those men reaching, bending, following directions. Once I arrive home, I am primed. The husband offers to put away groceries. Boom, number 6. When I'm at the store with all my kids, I get a lot of comments from strangers. Are they all yours? No. Shoot. Yeah. Why would I bring other people's children to the grocery store? Is this all of them? No. I left my newborn triplets in the car. Don't worry. Door's locked. My belly isn't the flattest in town, so I also get this question. Are you pregnant? I feel that it's a compliment. They think I have the inner fortitude to handle another child. I just celebrated my 13th anniversary.
Woo.
Breastfeeding. I breastfeeding bar mitzvah. The formula feeding versus breastfeeding decision is a divisive one, and I'll break it down for you. The majority of parents use formula, and everyone else loves their baby. Nurslings do peculiar things. Also, heads up, this joke's gonna get kind of gross. One of mine used to pinch the skin under my chin and twist it. That felt less like mother-child tender moment and more like facelift without narcotics. Another one used to pull a hair from my head and put that in his mouth first. I directed him to the gray ones. My least favorite is when they'd be nursing on one side and then grab the other side like, haha, that one's next. I'm all for double fisting, but ow. I felt like an hors d'oeuvres waiter trapped by a wedding guest. Would you like to try the stuffed mushrooms? Oh, this one's very good. I also want that one, and I'm going to hold on to it. Don't you go anywhere. After weaning my youngest, someone asked me if I had mixed feelings about it. Is hell no a feeling?
No.
Studies about hetero married couples, show that men doing chores is an aphrodisiac for their wives. These studies were funded by women trying to trick their husbands. And Palmolive. I get it. You know, the mere thought of dirty dishes in my sink makes it hard for me to relax. My husband has figured out a way to fix this in the bedroom. Sometimes he whispers, I want to scrub your pots. Let me soak your Pyrex. Can I scour your skillet? I got some elbow grease. And then I say, do it, baby. No, I mean, go do it. That's my time. Thank you so much. My name is
Nice.
Whoa, 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 whoa. All right, everybody. Keep it rolling, keep it rolling, keep it rolling. All right.
Good job.
Let me spotlight. No, I go to gallery view for this part. There we go. All right. So, yeah, I'm not doing the timer thing again. That was really stressful for me, and I feel like there's like a lot of video games that gave me like trauma for like time-sensitive deadlines. It's been working out very well for me in the professional landscape. Anyway, I really liked your set. Like right off the bat, like some overall things that I think that you did really well is that like the entire time, like it was all like in a theme, like talking about how like John was really great because he kept his sets to 2 topics. Like if I had to like pick 2 topics for your set, it would be like your cultural background and being a mom, which I think is great. And like then within that, I felt that you were very aware of your brand. And part of that was because you did such a good job at like sticking to the topics, but like even the way that you kind of had them intersecting with each other, I was like, this person knew who they are, and they are like ready to like put on a flyer, and like you know, I feel like it would be very easy to like cast you either in a lineup or like even like on like a spec or something. But some specific I thought the scarf for every occasion was really fun. And then for some reason I wrote down the quote, doesn't know when to stop. So I guess I liked that too. Although I try and catch so many things while I'm writing. And then I thought like a good writing point was the breastfeeding bar mitzvah. Like I appreciate any time like those literary elements can get in there, nice alliteration going. And Lisa may be able to like give you more tips on how to do this, but I think for the whole like grocery store section, it may be fun to play with ways that you can characterize the grocery store person. And again, I'm not gonna trudge into the delivery area feedback, because I also didn't say that at the top of the show. I'm supposed to focus on like writing derived feedback, and then Lisa's supposed to do like acting/delivery derived feedback. So she's gonna probably give you notes on that, but that might just be like a fun place. And you kind of did it in other parts of your set too, which was the "don't you go anywhere" like voice. I thought was really fun, and like that sort of thing could also apply itself well. And then on the note of voices, I thought the whole bit at the end was very smart as far as a way. It's like kind of doing a character, like doing a voice, but it's also kind of taking advantage of something that is easier to do on Zoom versus live mics, which is the whole like whispering ASMR element, which is fun. And you also did it better than me when I've tried to do that before. I did that once with an entire 7-minute set. And it wasn't bad, but it wasn't, it was a late night mic, so I feel like people more appreciated it for the soothing factor of going to bed. My comedy puts people to sleep. Like double fisting, that's just a personal preference I have that I wanted to share. And then one other place I think you may be able to fit in another joke is you make the comment funded by women trying to trick their husbands, which is great by itself. I think you can have fun too and like invent the name of the academic association that funded this study, like Society of Women Who Need Some Fucking Help Around the House, or like something like that, but you know, funny.
Right.
And that's it from me. Take it away, Lisa.
All right.
Wait, am I allowed to ask questions?
Yeah, so normally we do like give people time afterwards. If it's a full room, it's pretty tight. We sometimes don't, and then we also give people the option, if we don't have time for you to ask questions, we send people a feedback form the day after, and you can ask questions there.
All right.
But if you have questions to ask me now, you're welcome to too.
We don't, because we usually have 6 and we have 3 tonight.
Yeah, so if you want to go now, go.
Well,
feel
you
free to.
said, I'm sorry, is it Liza or Lisa?
It's Lisa, so I have the same issue. My mom named me. My mom named me Lisa after, like, as she said, Spanish.
Lisa Minnelli.
But we're not Spanish, so I have the literally the same. So I feel your pain. So yeah.
Okay, so you said Lisa would give me feedback on the grocery store person, but I had no grocery store person.
Yeah,
So
she might give you ideas on like.
Well, I think
Oh,
you
as if there's a person
having a
for me to.
conversation, because you created a lot of conversations, which I thought was really great, and you did it really simply. So I said a nice lean. I like how you lean in. Like, I think it's a simple. So you have a really great rhythm. I think you're very calming. It's sort of like, oh, this is nice, and then you go into all this mom, like this deep mom stuff. Which I'm a mom. I only have 1, so you having 5 is like a superhero, and. So I can, but I appreciate that. But the great thing about whatever, you know, and maybe I'm leading into a little Tom territory here, is that being a mom, like, just because a lot of people aren't parents, but you made it so universal. And like everyone can laugh at those and appreciate those jokes, because even if we're not the parent, unless I've been the other side or we've observed this type of behavior. So I appreciated that. But I think a lot of that has to do with like your demeanor is very just calm and welcoming, and sort of like, oh, and you know, then you sort of catch us by surprise with how you do things, like how you just, and how you drop that punchline in, or that word that accents that and hits that. So that's great. So but I really liked your lean in. And so then, oh, name wrong, I loved all this, the nice demeanor. I love the burp cloth. I like the choice of word there and how the emphasis came through. The shopping for scars is great, and the push-up scarf. I love, you do a lot of great stuff with small movement, which is, and Desiree and John have heard this, you know, if they would like, they'd be a millionaire by now for how many times I've probably said this, like the POV in the box that you have, like you have complete and ultimate control over that. And that's something that this type of venue allows, and you make real good use of it, but without doing it very overt. Like you own that box, and you have a very strong point of view, and the POV, as I call it. And I appreciate that, but it's, and we sort of, the way you lean into the camera is sort of how we lean into you, if that makes sense, as you deliver it. So I really enjoyed that. I love the thing. And like, as we realized you're a mom, and then it was like 5 kids, like, wow, like the whole cultural thing. Like, I like how you build that. The second one's grocery shopping. I like that. And I love how we never know what number 1 is, because you say number 6 is the other one. I love that. That's smart, but also without being like, I'm being smart right now. You know what I mean? So, and then some people may not catch that, but then you know who in the audience actually got it. You're like, all right, good, you're with me. So I like that. No, yeah. So this is, you do this really great thing with the lean in. And I will say, and I'll get there, but like, I loved how you did the whisper. You did a great job with it and made it, and you got really, like, we're intimately there with you. And yeah, you're hearing, I love that. I love that you take your time. But I'm thinking with the grocery, if you're creating a lot of conversations in the way you do that, or if it's like that, not that this is what you do, but it's coming to my head of like the devil and the angel on the shoulder, where you're sort of having that like, no, yeah, you always do one side. I don't know if you'd want to explore doing the other. That will just literally open up a whole nother thing, and it's a simple move, but you always leaned the same way, which was fine. It still worked, but I'm thinking if you want to explore that, and that like is like the left brain, right brain, or the person going, no, yeah, that gives you just that little bit of difference, but it's very telling. What else? The breastfeeding, yeah, I love that. Okay, I think my favorite was everyone else loves their kids, like in the formula. Oh my gosh. That was fantastic. And maybe I loved it so much because I'm a mom. Like, I don't know if you could, like, I'm like, oh, but I thought that was just really well done, and how you sort of present things. You sort of lean in, like I said, and present the joke. So I really enjoy that. The Palmolive was great, as you did that in Pyrex. Loved that. Very specific and very, and that's what I mean about delivery too, is that word selection. Like when John used fridge is better like use a refrigerator, fridge. There's something about, and every woman knows how hard it is when their Pyrex is basically run up, like, damn fucking Pyrex. Like you, and it can be a sexy word as you say it too. So I loved all that word choice. So really enjoyed a lot of that. Thank you so much. It was great. Thanks. And how you get to write comedy while you raise 5 children? Congratulations, you won.
Awesome. Keep it going. We only have one more comedian left tonight. God, now I'm just thinking like my porn star name would be Pyrex. No, don't worry. We don't need to think about that.
So good.
What'd you say, Lisa?
Bake down so good.
Yeah. But give it up for our final comedian of the evening. She is hilarious. She's Canadian. She might say something about it. I don't know. Give it up for Desiree Walsh. Woo, 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 woo.
Hi.
Hi.
I can't see the timer.
It just started.
Okay. I just don't want to go over. So I'm gonna do something different tonight. I'm gonna tell you the story of how I tried to murder my dad. Yeah. So for those of you who might be familiar with my dad, he is the man who saw me do stand-up comedy and said, if this is the internet, I do not care for it. Yes. He is actually also a recovering alcoholic. Yeah, he's been sober for 8 years. His road to sobriety was a long and winding one. During his time of, I guess, road to sobriety, he ended up in a complex care rehab center, not for drugs and alcohol, but he had cirrhosis of the liver and like some dementia. So he was no longer an addict. He was a sick man. Which are two of the same thing, I guess. And anyways, myself and my sister, we are both in wheelchairs. This will be important later. We are also twins. This will be important later. We're checking him in to the complex care rehab, and we got to the part in the intake where they ask if you would like a DNR, which is a do not resuscitate. And so we're filling it out, and the nurse says, do you want a DNR? And in unison, myself and my sister say, absolutely. And from the other side of the room, we hear a tiny voice say, no. And then for the next 20 minutes, myself and my sister, who is in a wheelchair, tried to explain to our dad how awful it would be if he had a stroke and was confined to a wheelchair, and basically how bad living with a disability is. And he said that he didn't care, even if he did end up disabled, he still wanted to live. And then we tried for another 10 minutes, and he still said no. He wanted to live. And finally, we were both just like, you need to go with God because we're tired. 'Cause by that point, like, we'd both lost our jobs. We were, like, in debt up to our eyeballs. And one of the really interesting things about having a parent who's going through that is people start out with, I hope he gets better. And then as things get worse, they end with, he'll die soon, don't worry. So I'd been preparing for him to die for like 6 months, and I was just sick of this shit. We didn't sign the DNR though, and we left, and then we came back the next weekend to visit him, and the nurse who had done the intake, who was mortified that these 2 adult children were trying to get their dad to sign a TNR, pulled us aside and was like, I understand now. I understand after, like, I'm spending some time with your dad and I don't blame you. But the story has ended happy in that he has been sober for 8 years. And I mean, I think people kind of knew the story was going to end happy, because, like, if he was buried in the backyard, I wouldn't be telling you. That's kind of something you want to keep to yourself. That's about it.
Woo!
Yeah.
Give it up for Desiree, everybody! Stopping that timer. So funny. Oh my god. And also, I'd never heard this story from you before. This is like all new stuff from you for me. And I loved it. I really loved this story, although however dark it was.
Yeah, I don't talk about it a lot because he's still alive and
he's
a
not
little
cool
bit
with
dark.
it.
He doesn't
it's funny,
know.
Though.
Not going back on the internet, it sounds like.
Yeah. Okay, let's get to it. Already strong opening by, like, framing this as, like, the story of how I murdered my father. And so, like, the first technical note I should give, I don't want to give, because I thought that you did really well and that it worked for you. But technically, it would be helpful if there were, like, a smooth way, maybe with some of your other material, to incorporate that you are in a wheelchair and that you have a twin. But I also really like that you just said, and by the way, that'll be important later. I'm a twin. That'll be important later. Yeah. So
That's a lot.
I at least bring it up to consider, because I know you have other great material around those topics. That is still an option. You know what those bits are. Obviously, you wrote them. But I just, oh god, it's such a good story, and like the premise around like the whole premise is. We want the do not resuscitate signed as like the weird thing, and I just it was so good. So one thing that you may be able to incorporate, I just kind of thought of as maybe a tag, was kind of him going like when you go, and he still wanted to live, like, maybe something offhand about, like, it's really amazing how selfish people can be. Like, that was kind of where my mind went first.
Like, we have done so much for you. What can't you do?
Just die.
And die.
Literally, you don't have to do anything. You don't even have to breathe. But I'm also a very dark person. I don't know, maybe that'd be too over the top. But I also like the transition of, like, I hope he gets better soon into don't worry, he'll die soon. One thing was that you did kind of mention at the top and the end of the set that he's been sober for 8 years. And I'm not sure how I feel about it. I didn't think it hurt the set particularly much, but if we're talking from, like, a laughs per minute perspective and you had to choose one, I would say just letting people know at the end. By the way, he's still alive. But I also, because I love that you then dig into the perspective of, you know, I'm still telling these jokes even if he was, like, buried in the backyard, or that you wouldn't be, rather.
Yeah, because, like...
That would be weird.
Admitting it on the, like, a streaming that she partly contributed to.
I confessed to murder on the District Comedy.
That's how we'll go viral, Tom. That's it.
I wish I could say that was the first time. Brooks. No. And then I was going to say one other thing. Oh yeah, if there's anything more you can add as far as, like, your sister, or even, like, from the twin perspective for this story, I think that could be fun, especially since you kind of have the twin sync moment anyway of both saying, we want a DNR at the same time. I think it could be fun and cute to explore as a premise.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, sorry, can I...
Yeah.
No. Okay. One of the things, and I forgot this because I got really nervous, is because we're both in wheelchairs, oftentimes when we showed up at the hospital, they'd be like, "Where are the other kids?" And then be like, why did this like man just have the 2 disabled kids and stop? Like, what is wrong with him?
Wow. That is some fucking you gotta put that in because that is some like cheeky presumptuous stuff. Wow. But yeah, that's all from me. Take it away, Lisa.
I like that you started off with something. You're like, I'm gonna try something different because I know we know you, but also like you have thing and it. But I like so this is you usually don't just you do stories, but I like that you stayed with one full story the whole time. And it was pretty much it was over 4 and something minutes. So that was great, and you can fit this into a longer set somehow. You know what I mean? So I think that's wonderful. But I do appreciate like I'm gonna do something different because people who know you and know you're human and that it shows that you can do that. Like it's still very you, but the sort of this longer standalone story without all the other like tangent things that happen. But I really liked so Long and Winding Road, this is what came to my mind, and this is Beatles song for some reason. I don't know if you make it's like the long and winding. I was like, oh, the long and winding. I feel like everyone we hear that, we like start to hear that in our head. I don't know, just to let you know, you don't have to do anything with that knowledge, Desiree.
Okay.
But if there's a joke there you wouldn't mind, like the Long and Winding Road. It ended as well as the Beatles, you know. Or some, I have no idea. So the complex care, I loved how you did that, like sort of, isn't that, I guess he's a sick man too. Like I like that it seemed that the story was evolving as you were saying it a little bit too, as you heard yourself, which either that was, it showed that you were very present, and I appreciated that. I don't know if that was intentional, but it came across that way. It's also the most, I will say this is the most I think I've seen of your full body usually in a screen, and I love it. I love it. I love seeing this. So more of this, more of Desiree. Because not that you aren't wonderful, but like I like having more like in the shot. I think it helps, and it really I think it adds to the story aspect. For some reason, it felt different because I saw more of you, and it's like you telling me that story in full. So I really like that. I thought you did a great way of explaining things that some people may not know. Most people may probably know about DNR, but like you did a really good job of being very simple about complicated matters, which really helps the story along. So I loved This Will Be Important Later. And then I loved how you said, oh yeah, and this will be important later. I loved, it was like, and don't do a rule of 3 there. That was like brilliant. It was just one. Oh yeah. And again, it was great. And I love how you said absolutely.
Yeah.
Like you're telling a story, and that's when you're like animated the most. Like, yes, together in unison. And then I think you can even have more fun with and then we heard the tiny voice, like the no could be even feebler, like the opposite of the absolute. Hear the little no. Like I don't know how you in the corner. So that was great. And then how you're talking about, you know, being disabled, and that like it's after you have a stroke and being wheelchair, you know, quality of like whatever life would be less than you would want. And but I love at the end, I love how you sort of sum it up. You sort of get there and you sort of like go with God. We're tired. I feel like so many people, not that I have yet had my parents in that situation, but you're like, their days are like, just, that's good. You could do that. I'm tired. God. It was good. I really enjoyed, twisted, I feel like, with the mass shooting joke and the other things. I'm like, really enjoyed that joke.
Yeah, we've had a theme tonight.
Yeah.
So, but also this is how we get through. We laugh at these ridiculous, moments. So, and then this is also another place where you can do the characters, because you of the nurse and how you sort of change up the pace of like, and then we saw the nurse, you know, it's very story. And then her and I love you can do something like you can lean in or you can change it up or just say, it's just even that breath you take when it's someone you don't know who wants to be like, I understand now. You know how they have that moment where they're like, I get you now, you know? I like that. You can even have more fun with that, I think. But that was wonderful. I understand now. Like, it's enough. Like, I understand. And I love the week, like, after we returned. And that I think that it was just a really tight story when it can be a very complicated, like some people might get mired in like other other details that wouldn't necessarily assist the story as it to being as comical. So you did a really great job with that. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for the feedback.
Thank you.
Yay.
Thank you.
And
I feel bad, John. Do you have anything to ask? Because like we couldn't hear you a part of it, and then like we also timed ourselves for just you. So I feel like we owe you a little bit more.
no, I felt like I said everything. But if you have questions, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, because I don't want to jip you. You're staying up late.
About the farting bit.
Oh yeah.
I did. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I just threw that in. I did a show before this one, and I think it went a lot better than it did this time. So I don't know if it didn't work or if it seemed a bit like maybe you felt bad for my girlfriend in the moment or something. Or maybe
Can you say it again?
Funny.
It was such a different change of pace. It wasn't that it was right. I think it was in the set maybe wasn't it didn't make it as strong, if that makes sense.
I just threw it in like at the very end because
this is new and fresh, and then it's kind of like it didn't. Not that I don't love that, but like I think that maybe the placement in the set might be.
Yeah. I think it could be funny because I thought it was like I was like you know when you're just like, oh, this will work, this has to work, it's comedic in and of itself, but then I just thought it definitely sounded like it got the least reaction or kind of didn't, and I was like, all right, well maybe it's not funny then, or maybe I need to come at it different.
A little like that could have woken a train. I would pick something else, maybe something more absurd.
Surprised you remembered that. That's a good memory.
Absurd. So I would say like a train, like could have woken like I would pick something that's not so literal that can't actually be woken up, or something sort of like absurdist. You know, that would have woken. I don't know. You can say like a historical dead figure. I don't know, something that would be like ridiculous or.
I would personally have to hear it again just for myself, because. Also, part of it, as far as, at least on my end, is why you might not have gotten as much of a reaction is just because I'm trying to, like, listen and take notes at the same time, and sometimes I miss stuff.
No, it's okay. It's just, I mean, that's all new material. The whole set's kind of new. It's all kind of cobbled together in a very haphazard fashion. But I like trying out stuff like that because it keeps it very loose, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I love that you do that. And I think that it's more about the placement. And I think that maybe, because I bet it was really hysterical when it happened. And so sometimes when it's really funny to us and how we just have to figure out how to translate that experiencing happening verbally, and sometimes it takes some times. Like I think that part of it's the placement, part of it is maybe we hear the sound and I heard this sound and describe the sound versus like she farted really loud. How did she fart? Why would it be so bizarre? And then I made her laugh so hard, like, and then she made a sound like blah, you know, like, so that we get an idea of the sound that made you laugh.
Maybe I could put it into, maybe I do stuff about her as well, so maybe I could do the do it with it's weird to do it in isolation like that. It's just
and really also the way you talk about your girlfriend, I assume she's a very lovely, beautiful woman, and like it's always this idea where like, especially also if you're Zoom calling and you're like not together after you've been together, maybe it's like you were trying to be intimate or having like a moment, and suddenly you're like, oh, that happened, you know, things that like new things with your intimacy through relationships in Zoom that you didn't know could happen, that normally you're in the room together.
Is she in the room with you now? Can she demonstrate the fart for us?
Right?
No.
it's just when she laughs a lot. It's just sometimes when she laughs so loud she farts. It's just something that happens.
There's something about like that, and then describe. Yeah. So I would say there's something there. I think that maybe it hasn't hit home exactly yet.
Does she really think it's funny, or is she just trying to cover up her fart? No.
Anyway, thanks for the feedback.
Thank
folks.
you.
I appreciate it.
Cool. Yeah, of course. That being said, that's all of our comedians. So I'm going to take us out. All right. And again, I forgot. I get to go scriptless. Yeah. Thank you, everybody, so much. Thank you, Lisa, for co-hosting with me as always. Awesome comedians, and for being so funny and open to feedback. And of course, to you, our audience, which I was actually looking at our stats for a bit. We got one person watching us now, but we had two for most of the show. So I'm just saying, we're pretty popular. That is 50% of our average viewership, so I consider that a success. Anyway, if you wanna, yeah, thank you, Carmia, for having your mom watch the show. But yeah, no, if you want to check us out, check out district-comedy.com, or you can support us at district-comedy.live. Follow us on the social media platforms at district-comedy.com/links if you want to see all the things. That's enough of me plugging myself. Have a good night. Goodbye.
Happy May the 4th be with you. That's what this is about.
Yeah, that's
May the 4th be with you.